Hi everyone, Reese here with another TF2 gameplay commentary. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these, so I actually made my return on another person's channel. You've probably heard of TF2 Gentleman. If you've heard of really good YouTube spies, I'd say check out his channel. Where should I... You know what? My ammo box isn't particularly interesting. I'm going to put an annotation link right there. Okay, it's gone now. As you all know, the brand new update, huge update, changed a lot of the weapons in TF2, fixed some of the map changes, all of that stuff. So I'd like to, do justice to this new update by not talking about any of the changes. Matter of fact, I'm not talking about, or the weapon that I'm talking about hasn't actually been changed at all. What I'm going to be talking about a little bit is the Scorch Shot and maybe touch on the Backburner a little bit. The Scorch Shot's an interesting secondary weapon. I feel like I'm kind of coming full circle talking about this because the last Pyro video I did, I believe I was actually playing using the Scorch Shot for the first time, and I was on Thunder Mountain, so this is kind of going back on old times. Scorch Shot's an interesting thing. I had a little bit of a lag here, but I'll cut that out. I think the benefits of the weapon are not immediately apparent, because in a lot of ways it's out... Oh, by the way, Slate Soda pulls off a great air blast, and I couldn't strafe away. Props on that one. Anyway, the Detonator has a lot of, on paper, big advantages over the Scorch Shot. So before I talk about why I like the Scorch Shot, I'm going to hit on some of those. The most obvious advantage the Detonator has over the Scorch Shot is, well, it does more direct damage in at mini crits. 30 or, for some reason, 41, even though I would imagine a mini crit would be 45. The other really noteworthy advantage the Detonator has over the Scorch Shot is, although its standard flare jump does a lot, or does more damage to the Pyro, it also gets a lot more distance when you use it than the Scorch Shot does. In addition to that, the Detonator can also be intentionally alt-fired to do an air blast that's more comparable to the Scorch Shot's air blast, excuse me, to do a jet jump that's more comparable to the Scorch Shot jet jump, and take a lot less health than a standard det jump, or flare jump, whatever you want to call it. So that leaves, why is the Scorch Shot worth using? Well, the main difference between the Detonator and the Scorch Shot is the fire and forget aspect. With the Detonator, you can get an explosive radius, and it's a very useful one. However, you have to have the Detonator active while you're... in order to get the explosive radius, you have to manually detonate the Detonator, and that requires you to have the Detonator out. With the Scorch Shot, by contrast, I'm able to fire off a shot like right there and then immediately switch to my my main weapon. This is a huge bonus for a Pyro, because the Pyro is able to harass enemies while still fighting more close-up enemies, deal damage in proximity and up close. The knockback of the Scorch Shot is, it doesn't seem like a big deal at first when you look on it head on, but that's, I've been finding more and more the knockback is a huge deal. Obviously, one of the most well-known approaches for a Pyro is the Puff and Sting, which is to air blast an opponent into the corner or into a wall and then extinguish them, or hit them with your melee weapon. What the Scorch Shot does is actually a similar principle. You can catch a retreating small enemy, someone that's lighter class. You can catch them retreating, throw off their movement, and apparently I didn't do it that time. But in general, when you don't mess it up, you can throw off their movement, and that allows you to catch up, close the distance, which is such a big deal for the Pyro. I mean, between the two of those things, that's why I've really not been using any secondary but the Scorch Shot very much lately. By the way, I don't know if you saw the numbers there, but I just pegged someone like practically across the map. So the downsides, I mean, you're only dealing about 15 damage if you hit them directly, and then you have the afterburn, which is about 60 damage. Those numbers don't seem like much compared to the 30 damage impact and 90 damage crits of, say, the flare gun. The difference is being the Scorch Shot can really be considered a lot more of a war of attrition. Now, you might say, okay, well, there's a lot of ways to extinguish afterburn. By the way, props on that numbers. That was a great stab. Now, there are a lot of ways to extinguish afterburn. Let's talk about them. There's picking up health kits. There is Pyro's extinguishing. There are Gerardian Mad Milk. All of that good stuff. I think Medi Beams, if they're on for a couple of seconds, will heal afterburn. So, if it's that easy to heal afterburn, why is afterburn still a big deal? Well, I'll tell you. Because if you use those means to heal afterburn, that means... Oh, and I'm going to have to apologize. From this point on, this particular gameplay has that stupid healing halo effect on it. That was an artifact of the demo. I'm not actually still being mega healed. So... say you hit a sniper with the splash damage of a Scorch Shot. They're on fire. They say, okay, well, I'm going to use my Gerardi and put me out. That's one less Gerardi that he gets to use to put mini crits on the enemies, or use for his teammates in other ways. You have an enemy Pyro that's using his air blasts to put the enemies out. That means less ammunition for him to reflect projectiles and to spy check and to do all that stuff. Really, we're talking sort of about a war of attrition. On top of that, this is something that isn't really considered, but is a major factor. Afterburn... Okay, let me explain how a medic's healing gun works. After a certain amount of time of not getting hurt by something, a medic's Medi Beam... I live by the air blast, I die by the air blast, but holy shit, look at this Pyros. A medic's Medi Beam will eventually do triple healing after, I think it's 15 seconds of a player not being hurt. Now, if you keep applying afterburn to them, you are robbing each of those players of critical heals. That means the medic is going to take more time buffing his teammates. It's going to take, more time. He's going to have to divert attention from his pockets, whatever they may be. And these are all things that need to be taken into account. And I would argue that the Scorch Shot's probably the easiest of the three to apply afterburn on. The Detonator you have more control over when you get the explosive radius, but with the Scorch Shot, it's easier to get that explosive radius. The Detonator and the Scorch Shot also have a shared advantage. Detonator is slightly better in the fact that you can manually detonate it and hit stuff on walls, but both of the flare guns have the ability to break sticky bombs, which is not commonly announced. This is a huge deal for Pyros. They can really help out their teammates by breaking sticky bombs, and if someone carpet stickies, say with the Scottish Resistance or what have you, it's really, really, really trivial to just break them with the Scorch Shot and move on, maybe even getting your approach to the demo man in the process. So this is the end of this round. I'm going to transition into a Highlander video, and this is just going to be a quickie from a Highlander scrim I had with a team I'm now a part of that I was kind of working on trying out with. It's just a quick Backburner Scorch Shot thing. But yeah, I think the Scorch Shot really does make an impact. I think it's perfectly viable to use. You might notice I tend towards the Backburner rather than Degreaser. I'll probably comment on that more in another gameplay video. The general gist of why I use the Backburner a lot is I think it is an incredibly, and this might get a chuckle out of people that are less familiar with it or played with it in the early days. I think this Backburner is probably the most skill-indexed flamethrower. By that I mean it rewards tactful approaches probably better than even the Degreaser. And it punishes just going in and just doing whatever more than the Degreaser does. With the Degreaser, there's a little bit more of a median between a good Pyro with the Degreaser and a bad Pyro with the Degreaser, is my opinion. I'm proud of that flank on the heavy. The Backburner, you have to be creative with if you're going to do anything halfway intelligent with it. The air blast penalty is kind of a big deal in Highlander. Not a cataclysmic one. It just means that you're not going to... I'm sorry, that was such a fail. I love you, man, but that was pretty bad. But what that means is you're not going to be able to basically stand there reflecting spam. Oh my god! My team just had a heart attack all at once. Huh. Anyway, but I think that the Backburner is still incredibly useful from the standpoint of if you're roving a little bit, sort of DMing, and even if you are just being a protective spy checker, the Backburner allows you to get more use out of the main weapon rather than needing to fall back on your secondaries. Do I think that the Backburner is better than the Degreaser? No. Goodness no. I think that, honestly, I've had Pyros ask me about this, and I say, you know what, if you want my recommendation, just use the damn Degreaser. It's easier, it's there, it's so much more straightforward in an organized environment. But having said that, just like with the Scorch Shot, but to a lesser degree, the Backburner has very good attributes going for it, and I'd say, I guess if I needed to summarize this video, I'd say experiment, see what weapons work for you, and go from there. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a good day, everyone.